you'll get in the mode where you're like, oh, Zergling Baneling. You do it once and it works amazingly, and then you do it the next game and it works amazingly, and then the third game you kind of bash his front door and it feels like it might work to wave 2, and then you do wave 2 and wave 2 fails, and you're like, all right, I guess I need to kind of go back to something normal now, and you try to start going back to something normal, but alas, he just has too big of an army. So you try to pat him down, and then he attacks with like 8 roaches, and you only have 12 Zerglings, and your head gets lopped off. And this is one of those things that it's a lot of trial and error. Don't be scared of trial and error at all. But with that in mind, because trial and error is vague, anytime you do an attack that works really well, rewatch that replay and say to yourself, could I have gotten the chance to make a lot of drones now? Let me give an example. Game 1 that we saw today between Chef and Slush. Gotta make sure I say those names properly. Instead of just going but Chef and Slush. So Slush opened with the Banelings, and the first attack did marvelously. The second wave looked like it almost broke down, and suddenly Slush is in defense mode. What I would have done is when I rewatched that replay of me doing that exact same thing, attack 1 goes marvelously, and I'd pause the game right there and go, would having tons of drones be really good right now? And a lot of times the answer is yes. If the answer is no, you're going to have to do a little bit more analysis, but very simple rule. If you do something really successful attack-wise, make sure behind it is another really successful economic play. Not that I did an attack that led into an attack that I finished with another attack. Then you're just a guy who boxes units and hits attack move. So that's just a good little technique. Ajarian, here's just a best question ever. Day 9, what do you tell a player that is afraid of doing 1v1 ladder matches? I know lots of you are afraid of 1v1 ladder matches. I know it. I can see it in your souls. I have X-ray eyes, even from all the way out here in California, where there's actually a thick smog kind of blocking vision of everything in all directions. That is a feeling. Don't buy into it. You just kind of got to get used to it. When you sit down and you want a ladder, it can be very intimidating because you feel like, well, I don't really have my strategy sorted out. I just kind of want to sit in darkness in a closet and work on my strategies by myself. You know, it's kind of like the person who paints but never shows anyone because you're scared of criticism. Just don't be too tied to your gameplay. And what you want to do is not say, I feel scared. How do I not feel afraid? How do I not feel intimidated? What you should instead is do and sit down and feel intimidated and like step outside yourself and go, isn't that weird that I feel intimidating? How funny that just in this silly video game that really is not hugely important in the long run, I'm feeling intimidating. And just sort of go into it and try to just be like a third-party observer of your own sort of emotional state. And what you'll soon find is that you get used to it really, 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 really quickly. And then it just becomes a real high. Like, I love adrenaline. Oh, man, I love adrenaline. I also like coffee and green tea. Stimulants. All right, cool. I'm going to I'm gonna drink a little bit of water and take this question from Krakenhead 231, who says, "Dear Day 9, the sensei who lives in the mountain, actually in a large dank cave in my mountain, with my servants who all go, the Thought Hammer has spoken." He says, when is it a good time to spread creep in Zerg vs. Zerg? Sounds goofy, you know, like, and sounds vague, like when you spread creep. But it's actually something that I've kind of struggled quite a bit with because, like, let's say I'm going Roaches and my player is going, like, Zergling Baneling. The creep helps him more than it helps me because my Roaches are still a lot slower than those super speedy Zerglings. What I want is the time to get my Roaches in a good position and to block off areas against Zerglings. So I don't actually want a big creep spread. But, So I would actually say, I'm just going to give some comments on it because that is obviously an unbelievably complicated question. But what I would say is, if you're going Zerglings and like he is not, try to be spreading a lot of creep. So if you're going like Mutilating against Roach Hydra, spread a lot of... Ooh, is that true? You know, this is the only one that I can really say definitively. If you're going Roach Queen, you got to spread that creep very, very, very early. And if you're getting Hydralisks, you just got to start spreading that creep very, 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 very early and very aggressively. And even get another queen and extra queens to just goop forth on the map and create a highway for you. I wouldn't recommend Overlords to spread your creep just because Mutalisks will kill them so quickly. But yeah, I would just totally, I'm all on board with that one. That's really all I can say, because it's just like, that's going to be a hell of a trial and error pool. I think what I would also say is, especially if you're doing some early expanding things, link your bases up with creep real fast. Like very, very, very quickly. Because having the ability to get a queen to your ramp fast is, like, critical in this matchup. Because if you see some banelings and you're like, ah, I gotta block my ramp, one queen's not going to cut it. You need both those fine women up there on the ramp. You need both queens there. I'm going to take 2 more questions. Dos more questiones, because we've been going for 43 minutes. Dear Day9, in ZergZ, do you feel building more queens than normal would be effective? They could help with defense and to get ahead with the economy. I love queens. Try this. Early expand, get 2 queens quickly, and get some spine crawlers up quickly, and really don't get your gas very fast at all. Just focus largely on Zerglings, queens, spine crawlers. You could get some defensive banelings. That's kind of cool to just have a few spine crawlers, like 2 queens, and then like 6 banelings, and that's it. Like literally no Zerglings, just the banelings, and just play straight up defensively. And then you keep building queens and get a lot of roaches. What makes queens really thick and juicy and awesome is transfusing high hit point units, such as the roach or other queens. So you can do cool early pushes with roach, queen, lots of creep against a muta-ling-ing player. And in a lot of circumstances, these are the sort of players who open Zergling Baneling and won't really have that amazing of an economy. So I love that. I did a daily looking a little bit at that a while back. That's Mass Queens and ZvZ. So you should look through my archives at day9tv.blip.tv. Wow. And let us see here. I will take this last question by Lone Sword, who's of course a regular. Hello, Lone Sword. I recognize you. Senor Nueve. I'm a high-ranked platinum player, and I'm finding it hard to resist cheesing. I know that feeling so much. Should I stop and play more standard, even though I'm getting a high win-loss, so for over 30 games? This is similar to the same question as before, which is, I feel afraid to ladder. It's intimidating. It's scary. And absolutely get outside your comfort zone and try to find ways to not cheese. And in general sense, feel free to experiment with strategies. And this is something that I've actually felt tremendous pressure to do, is to not experiment at all in my games, because I play under the name Day9. I don't smurf on my account. So whenever I play someone's like, "Oh my god, are you Day9?" I'm like, "Yeah, only if I win. If I lose, it's a evil imposter." In those circumstances, I feel like, oh god, I'm this guy who has this show about Starcraft 2, and I need to make sure that I have a good reputation. I don't look dumb. I need to make sure I win all these games, and that was actually poisonous to me for a week there, especially when I started playing again after having not done so after a while. I didn't want to branch out because I just wanted to rely on what I had won with in the past. But you know what? There's no shame in losing. Don't worry about it. And you know what? People are going to post replays of me going, "Oh, I beat Day9 and he played really bad." I probably did. I have my horrific games that make me red in the face and I don't want anyone to see it, but they'll get posted and that's fine. And whatever. It happens. The most important thing is that when you're in the games that count, that you can pull through. That when you're in the tournament, that you are comfortable enough with the start-to-finish gameplay, and you're not risking it all on some big gamble coin flip cheese. And what's so addictive about cheesing is that the games are like 6 minutes long. Even if you lose, you just play another 6-minute game when you can cheese, and accelerate to the top of the ladder. But I strongly encourage you, resist the urge to cheese, take some of the intuition that you've developed from cheesing, develop a long-term game plan, and have beautiful, marvelous success in the future by resisting the urge to have your ego involved. Again, remember, this is the good takeaway lesson. However embarrassed you feel after you lose, and however frustrated you feel after you lose, always remember that Day9 is probably feeling 20 times more embarrassed to lose because he knows that it will spread like wildfire through the internets. But, whatever. That's fine. It's no big deal. It happens. It happens. So with that, I'm going to sign out. I am going to be in Ventura, California this weekend at the Green Forest Cafe LAN. I'm going to be in Germany at the Intel Extreme Masters Championship. And then I'm going to be in MLG in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is going to be great. It's going to be nifty-tastic. Just doing lots of shoutcasting, and I love it. So it's great. Glad to potentially contribute, and hopefully today was educational. Take care, guys, and see ya.